Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, or whenever you are watching this. Um, I would like to welcome everybody. I'm trying to work my way through a couple little uh, technical things here, but I think we got it. Okay, so good morning. Welcome. This is our last member-exclusive webinar of 2016. Uh, and keeping to the Thanksgiving theme, we're going to talk about saying thank you and who we should say thank you to and how to say thank you to some of them and some of that stuff. There will not be a member exclusive webinar in December of 2016. We will resume the monthly webinars beginning January 2017. So if you're looking for the member exclusive for December 2016, you will not find it. But we really do appreciate everybody joining us on these monthly webinars. And if you have any ideas or topics that you want to hear about in the future for future webinars, please, I'm open to it. In fact, I'm kind of very interested because you know, it's hard to come up with ideas sometimes. So monthly at a time, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys what you want. So okay. Anyway, we're going to start right off. Those of you that know me or that have been through any of the presentations that I've ever given, you know that I always start my presentations off by saying thank you. It really means a ton to me to be able to serve you in this way. And I actually, you know, sometimes I take a moment and I really expand on this, and I want to do that today too, because it really is I've been through sales training. I've done this stuff, and for somebody to actually take you know, a half hour, an hour to sit down and listen to what I have to say month after month after month or week after week after week, it really does mean it's an honor. It's a huge compliment, and I really want to say thank you. I do not take it for granted, and it's my goal to make sure that the information that I give to you always is at least as valuable as the time that you're giving to me. So sincerely, on behalf of myself and Jen, we really do appreciate having you as clients and having the opportunity to serve you. So thank you very much. Start off the same way I do most weeks, by talking about this. You know, if you live a life philosophy, give more than you take, then sales should be pretty easy. Your relationships should be a lot better. You know, at the end of the day, when you look yourself in the mirror and you say, today, did I give more than I took? Then that should make a huge difference. Brian, are you with us now?
Yeah, finally.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to mute everybody though. But all right, so you can unmute yourself, of course, if you have a comment or anything. I just don't want to have the background noise there. So you can unmute yourself by just simply right-clicking on your name and clicking unmute. Or you can chat in the chat box. So, all right, so, you know, when it comes to really anything, I think give more than you take is really the best life philosophy to have. That is, if you, you know, in sales, you don't need any fancy closing techniques. If at the end of a sales presentation that you have offered more than what you've asked for, both in the tangible and intangible category, then closing the sale or asking for the sale shouldn't be that difficult. If you're finding it awkward, or if you're having a problem with price, you think you're asking too much money, then really the answer is to offer more. And people say, well, it's not my company, I can't offer more. Well, you can. If you are a professional, you can offer more in your knowledge, in your professionalism, and your willingness to go over and beyond for the customer. So you can. You know, it's simply give more than you take. And I say simply, it's not always simple. Sometimes, you know, we by nature are selfish creatures, I think. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of effort. I think sometimes, especially when we are all going through the motions and doing our jobs, that we get wrapped up in our own worlds, and sometimes it's hard to forget that there are other people out there that need more. I know I certainly fall short on this philosophy at times. I look myself in the mirror. Okay, today did I give more than I took? And there are times I fall short. I mean, I'm like, wow, I was pretty selfish today. And that I think being aware of it and really striving to make that better for the next day is really, it's a good goal, and it does make me feel, for the most part, pretty good about my life and my relationships, and so I encourage you to try it. Try that. Do the same. Okay, so let's talk about thank you. The one thing I do not want to do is lecture you guys. So I don't want to give the impression in any shape or form that I have any kind of perfection or that I'm better or anything. I just I want to. It has worked for me. Okay, so let's say that. All right. So who do we say thank you to? Well, I think an obvious one, first and foremost, is to our customers. So let me just kind of set the stage on this. All right. It's a big deal. When I first came into sales and I went out, I was selling one of the most expensive water softeners that was around. And it blew me away. I mean, I was just amazed that I could walk into somebody's private space, a total stranger, somebody that had no clue who I was, and in an hour and a half or 2 hours, they would write me a check for thousands of dollars. And they would tell me the most intimate, personal things about their family, all within the scope of about 2 hours. If there ever was a compliment, that's it. Wow. And I think it's something that some of us in sales, I think that we miss that. And I'm here to encourage you to not miss it, to recognize that when these people, first off, whether they buy anything from you or not, to give you their time, to trust you to come into their house and talk to them, that by itself is worthy of appreciation. That's a huge deal. You're a stranger. They don't owe that to you. They've given you a gift, and I think it's very important to say thank you. Increasingly it gets really annoying to me to see salespeople that look at sales calls as nothing but income means. We're gonna out there, we're gonna make so much commission. I sold them so much stuff. You wouldn't believe it. I got this. I mean, obviously you're not a professional visitor, and you do make a living, and you are in sales, and that is, or if you're in the office, the sales that these people make to continually come in there. If you're a service technician and they're trusting you to go out and fix the equipment, and to work on this stuff. This is water. This is stuff their family drinks and bathes in. It's a big deal. So I think it's worthy of taking notice of the gift that they're giving you and saying thank you. I mean, sincerely saying thank you. Again, you're in their private space. They're trusting you, to within just a short time, they trust you. And by the way, if nobody ever trusts you if nobody's buying anything from you, or nobody's trusting you to fix their water or help you, you might want to take a look in the mirror and say, why isn't anybody trusting me? Because it could be, it really could be you. Had to take a sip of coffee there, sorry. This was when I went out there in sales. Like I said, when I first went out, I was blown away that these people, I mean, they were giving me a huge gift. They were feeding my kids. They were just, it was just like, I mean, they were helping my family, So I learned to sincerely and honestly thank them. And I think that sometimes what ends up happening is the thank yous, they can get routine. They can, I just want to say thanks. I sometimes feel that when I begin my presentations, because I always say, it's my goal to make sure that the information I give you is at least as valuable as the time that you're giving me. And I've said it so much that I think that sometimes it can sound routine. And I think I want to caution you when you're talking to your customers about sounding routine. Hey, thanks for letting me come in here tonight. Here's what we're going to do. Just don't make it sound scripted, okay? Sometimes I think taking a step back, taking a deep breath, and saying, I really do thank you. It means a ton to me that you guys trust me. I think salespeople, as part of their presentation, say thank you a lot. I don't know that a lot of salespeople really mean it or really take time to think about the thank you and the reasons they're thanking them. So I think it's important to thank them first, thank them for the opportunity to talk to them, to show them what you have to offer. I think it's important to thank them in the middle. Oh, thank you. They open the microwave for you, or they move a towel for you, or they move something out of the way. Say thank you, okay? And at the last, whether they buy anything from you or not, you should say thank you to them. Thank you for the opportunity to show you what we have to offer. And forever, continue to thank them whether they buy anything from you or not. See, even if they do buy something, it's most salespeople, you buy from them and you never hear from them again. They're gone. They've moved on, and I never wanted it to be that way. I really felt a personal connection with my customers when I was out there in sales, and I wanted them to, even now. I mean, the Moti-Vitality, the clients that we have through Moti-Vitality, it's personal to, I think, both Jen and I, and I mean, it's such a huge compliment that I don't ever want them to feel that I take them for granted. Like I said, those of you that are on this webinar right now, I mean, what a tremendous compliment. And so I think it's important, some of you that are, I know, Stacy, you're on here and you're in sales out there. These customers are helping you make a living. And Brian, it's your business. You own the business. And, what would you be doing in your life if you didn't have your customers? It's worthy of telling them thank you, of showing appreciation to them. To kind of go back to the some of the basics, when you have a sales presentation, doesn't have to go way out there on, to this big extravagant thing, but this is a habit that I definitely encourage people to do at every time they meet a customer, whether it's a sales call or not. Get in the habit of dropping a handwritten thank you note in the mail. Although I was talking to somebody just recently, I think that the handwritten notes are really powerful still. I do think that they're very powerful. I think, though, that nowadays email, a quick little thank you on an email, or even a text message if you had that, I think it does go a long way. In fact, I think in some cases people are, they are starting to adjust and get used to the digital world. So I'm less inclined to say the handwritten thank you note, while it's still more powerful than anything. I don't know if it's the only way anymore to have the impact, because I mean, I get so much mail at my house, junk mail. If I get snail mail nowadays, it's almost all junk mail. And so I could miss a little handwritten thank you note. I read all my texts and all my emails and stuff like that. So I will tell you, just from a personal standpoint, like we just had, Mark, you're on the line. I will tell you, Mark is one of the sales professionals we just hired for a client in Minnesota. And during the interview process, Mark sent an email for a thank you for the first interview. He said a thank you to the second interview and a thank you for the third. And that was over email, but they were very noticed. They were very noticed and very appreciated. Jen is saying that she likes the handwritten thank you notes, and I would agree. I would agree with you, Jen. I do think that they are still the most impressive, because it does take a little bit of extra time. But I would also say that if you're not going to take the time to do the handwritten thank you notes, then at least a thank you is critical. Don't I'm not going to do the handwritten, so I'm not going to do any. That's what I guess I would discourage you from doing. But if you made the sale, people go, oh yeah, I always send a thank you note if I made the sale. Well, that's good, but what if you didn't make the sale? So if you didn't make the sale, or let's say if you did, here's just an example of what to say if you did make the sale. I wanted to take a quick moment to say what a pleasure it was to meet with you this evening. The trust you've given me and our company by allowing us to help address your water concerns does not escape me. I truly appreciate the opportunity to serve you, and I look forward to doing so long in the future. If you have any questions, please call. Okay, very quick, very easy, personalized, handwritten, just a handwritten note. And I think, by the way, if you're going to do these handwritten notes, you should have some handwritten thank you notes, or you should have some thank you notes handy in the car. And you should be, as part of your sales appointment your presentation preparation, you should have that envelope already pre-addressed and ready to go. So you will write that thank you note right after the appointment, do it immediately after the appointment, and drop it in the mail on the way home, or put it in the mailbox so that it gets there pretty quick. If you didn't close it, if it's a pending, dear Matt and Sue, I want to take a moment to say thank you for the opportunity to speak with you about how our organization can help you address your water concerns. It's a pleasure meeting you both, and I look forward to serving you long into the future, regardless of your investment decision. Please call if you have any questions. Okay, let you know that it's not just about the sale, or let them know it's not just about the sale. It's about the opportunity to help them. What they gave you is worthy of appreciation. Don't be afraid to ask for referrals. We have talked about that in webinars this year. Don't be afraid to ask for referrals, but I can tell you, if you get a referral, wow, somebody just gave you potentially hundreds of dollars. If ever there was something worthy of appreciation in saying thank you, it is that. Not only did they trust you to serve them, but they trusted you enough to tell other people about it. That's huge. Send them a thank you note. At the very least, say thank you to them. Send them a thank you note. Maybe put a gift card in the thank you note. Or yet, take it to them and hand deliver it to them, and say, hey, I really wanted to say how much I appreciate the referrals. It's a big deal, and I promise to try and give them the quality of service that I gave you, and to really take care of them. So I just want to say thank you. Make it personal. My whole life in business and stuff like that, you always hear that, right? It's just business. It's not personal. It's just business. I don't know about that. That whole thing has never worked for me. Maybe in a corporate world, or a big, a big business. It's not business. It's just personal. The cliche line when you see that in the movie, when somebody gets fired, look, it's not personal. It's just business. And the person getting fired says, you know what? It's personal to me. It means something to me. What you just did by firing me, you just impacted my family. I have to go home and tell my wife that I no longer have a job. I have to figure out how I'm going to pay my mortgage, the place where my kids live, the doctor's bills. I've got to figure. It is personal. The flip side of that is, when somebody gives you a referral, they're offering something to you. Not only do they trust you enough to give that referral, but they're giving you they're helping you pay your mortgage and feed your kids and giving you something for your family. I say make it personal. I say screw the whole it's just business, it's not personal thing. I say make it personal. That with what we do, it should be personal. It's a big deal. That's I'm not saying you have to go up to everybody that gives you a referral and give them a big bear hug. Thank you, you're so awesome. But most of the people that I like most in this industry, they just really are personal, genuinely good people. So make it personal. Let's see. Jen's saying we had one sales pro who included the dog's names on the thank you card. That won him the sale, and he was invited to present at the condo association. I do remember that. That was, yeah. So make it personal. Make it specific. Good. Okay. All right. Coworkers. This is one that gets missed a lot. Okay. Let's talk about our coworkers. First off, it's a big deal. And see, this is another one of those common things that we just sort of forget, but it's like we have this relationship. It's like it's almost expected. When I used to wait tables, the cooks and the servers, man, they all hated each other. It's like, I mean, they knew that they worked the same place, but nobody got along. Um, and it's mostly because the servers were out. With the servers are essentially straight commission, because it's almost all tips that they get their money on. And so the customer says, yeah, leave the onions off and make half of that steak medium and the other half well done, and put a smiley face with ketchup on the top of it, or whatever. I don't know. And so they put it in because that's what they do. They're there to make the money. And so they go back with this special order that's different. And the cooks, they get fed up with it because, I mean, the servers often will blame, I'm sorry, the kitchen really screwed up. They didn't put the food out. And often it was because the server was disorganized and didn't do their job. But anyway, they're two different jobs. The servers are back there sweaty and hot and over the hot stove and dirty and grimy, and the servers get to wear their ties and their, or it's just, they're different types of jobs. And the thing that a lot of people don't really understand we run into the same thing in our businesses, by the way, with the dealerships. Okay, it's the same thing with service and installers and sales professionals. It's the same thing. Sales professionals tend to the one thing I hear all the time is it takes a salesperson 2 minutes to say it and a installer 2 hours to do it. Well, that's not a great atmosphere for creating love amongst your coworkers. Servers, they get paid an hourly wage, maybe some little commission on top of a sale, and they're in there in the mornings, but they get to go home at night, and they're home most weekends doing their stuff. Salespeople, the service guys see the salespeople come in off the golf course on Friday afternoon, and they get to go on all the big fancy trips to all the places, and they drive the company vehicles, and what do? Their job is just simply to talk to people, and they make all this money and get all the awards. Well, it's easy for there to be bitterness, especially when the salesperson never sees that the service or the installer technician is laying on his back in mud, wrapping heat tape around piping because the sales guy promised the customer we'd do it. Okay. On the other hand, the service or installer doesn't see the sales guy have to run that, or lady have to run that appointment at 7 o'clock at night with a little old lady who just wants to share her life cat history with the salesperson because she's lonely, or doesn't have to go home, doesn't see the salesperson has to go tell his spouse, hey, that big sale that I had that was going to make the house payment, it canceled. And they couldn't do it. They called and canceled, or they didn't get approved on financing, or we couldn't get it installed, so I don't get paid on it yet. Okay, it's a big deal to respect your coworkers and to get in there and understand your coworkers. That this has to start with respect, and then it has to go to appreciation. I see all the time salespeople, especially, who treat office personnel like they're a secretary. Okay, that is the stupidest thing in the world to do. I mean, stupid, because that person who answers the phone is the first impression your customer has of the company. And if you go in there and you treat that person like crap, like she or he's a slave, and like they're a secretary or an assistant, what incentive do they have to give that wow first impression to the customer that could potentially feed your family? Without the people in the office doing their jobs, and without the service and installers wanting to do their jobs and doing it well, what are you? What value are you at that point? So I would, if I were you, take the time to stop and look at what they contribute to you and give them a very sincere thank you. Show them appreciation. It is a big deal. We need them. as much as they need you. Okay, with if me and my body, without I can have all the heart in the world. I can have the healthiest, best heart ever, but without my lungs, I'm kind of screwed. If I have a heart and lungs that are healthy and doing really well, but I don't have a brain, I'm kind of screwed. Okay, I need them all in order to live. It's all part of it. And so that's the way a company is. And you should every once in a while say thank you. I'm just picturing myself saying thank you to my heart right now. Thank you, heart, for beating. I really appreciate it. I mean, and I think that's exactly what happens. With our bodies, we just sort of expect our heart and lungs to keep working, right? And so we never really stop to take care of them, but they will kill us if I stop taking care of my heart and stop showing appreciation to my heart or my lungs. It's eventually going to lead to my demise. And so I got to pay attention to my heart and my lungs, and my brain too, for that matter. Okay. So installers, your service, your office personnel, they're all part of the same body, part of the same function, just doing different things. Don't forget the delivery people either. The guys going out there throwing bags of salt in there and carrying. They're talking to your customers way more than you probably talk to your customers. So shouldn't you say thank you to them? Notice, I don't care how small it is. That guy who comes in or the lady who comes in and empties the trash and vacuums and keeps the showroom dusted and looking good? Man, that's all part of it. Say thank you. Take notice of those people and treat them with respect. Simply say thank you. Simply say thank you. And this one, I cannot even, I know I'm kind of like really pushing these hard, but so I'm a divorced guy. I mean, I've been divorced for, golly, 9.5 years. There were a lot of differences between me and my ex-wife. But the one thing I can tell you that I have never stopped appreciating was that she dealt with the late nights and the varying paychecks and the evenings and the phone ringing at odd hours. She dealt with that and understood that was part of my job. Even my fiance now, she understands that traveling. I have to travel and I'm going places and I'm working late nights. I work these conventions. I go and I stand in the booth, and Jen's there too, and I'm exhausted. I work a 10, 12-hour day, and I come home, and as much as I miss Lisa, I don't want to talk. And she gets it. She understands that. And man, that's worthy of saying thank you. It's huge. It's really a big deal, because without that support, none of it matters. We have to say thank you to them. It is a big deal. We bring our frustration. This is not the kind of job. I've never met anybody that was successful in the water treatment industry where you leave it at the office. This is not the kind of job that you can just leave at the office door. There are frustrations that come with income and customers and challenges, and we bring them home and we deal with it, and our family is impacted by that. And if we don't take the time every once in a while to say thank you to them for putting up with us, for helping us, for supporting us, I think we're missing a boat. There's the varying paychecks, there's the late night. I simply say thank you. Okay? Say thank you, because it is a really, really big deal. Okay. So I know this is a short webinar. We're doing this one very short, but here's what I want you to do. If I had a goal, or if I had one request, is to have you take a moment, just a couple minutes, and think about the people in your life, whether it be your customers, whether it be your supplier, your manufacturer, your dealer rep, whether it's somebody that maybe it's the person that works the counter at the gas station. When you stop to get gas and you grab your cup of coffee on the way in, and it's that same person that's there. maybe it's the person at the bank that's doing the job. What I would encourage you to do is to look for people that are part of your life, even just peripherally. You know, they're not, maybe you're not super close to them. Maybe you just see them in passing. Find that person over the course of the next week, and instead of saying Happy Thanksgiving to them, say thank you to them. Instead of, let's embrace what the whole thank you, the whole gratitude thing is supposed to be about, and let's, instead of making it routine, let's actually go out there and say thank you. Tell somebody thank you. Send them a note. Just shake their hand. Just stop for a minute and don't make it a routine appreciative statement. Make it sincere and make it personal. And that's the webinar. I'm going to unmute you guys. Do you have any comments or thoughts? Nope. You want to add anything to that, Jen? Anybody?
I think I agree with you. Mark said thank you. I think I know that I have certain people that every once in a while will say, you know, I really appreciate you. And that means so much, just to hear that. And yeah, you can give a great big bear hug too to total strangers. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, for some of us it's creepier than for others.
Okay.
All right, hey, Brian, Jen says you can go give bear hugs to people.
Yeah, well, one of the things you mentioned, text, and, you know, often I will just reach out and just pop somebody a text. So it's good to keep track of your customers that way and just send them a note 6 months later or whenever and just say, hey, how's the water doing? Thinking about you, or, you know, all kinds of stuff. The doors are open with the text messages. And I definitely agree. The ones you don't sell probably need it more than the others, but they all should be thanked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know it's one of those little simple things, but I just think that it's so critical. And the text messages, Brian, that's a perfect way to use the text messages too. I do that sometimes too. I mean, I go through my phone. I've got hundreds of you know, contacts on my phone, and every once in a while I'll just flip through looking for somebody else. I'm like, oh, man, I haven't talked to that person in a long time. I'll do the same thing. Just thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. And every once in a while I'll get something like that from somebody too, and it makes you feel good. You know, even just that little thing, it does. It makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
If you don't get the sale, if you lose the sale or don't get it, I should say, that night, and you don't respond, you don't do any activity, you don't do a thank you, then they're going to think, well, geez, that was, how much of this do I believe? This wasn't that genuine because, you know, there has been no follow-up.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I think is typical everywhere, the follow-up part, you know, because salespeople that go in and they're really good at putting on that sales face and then you never hear from them again. And I think that's, we fall short on that. I mean, if there's a salesperson in this industry that makes a living off one sale, who can support their family off of one sale, I'd be amazed by that, because I think that I always thought that it was the sales that came off the sales that was going to make. I felt like every time I had an opportunity to serve somebody, the only way I was going to really make a living was to wow them so much with service that they were willing to refer me to their friends and family, because that's where I made my income. You know, it was never off that one sale. It was always off the ones that I hoped to get from that one. So.
And that's why I like listening to you.
Thanks. See, you say stuff like that, and that is, it really does. I appreciate it. Thank you. So, all right. Anybody else? Any other thoughts, comments? Please join us for our Thursday morning MV Pro call. That's every week. And and we will continue to have those throughout the course of the year, although obviously on Thanksgiving Day we won't. And probably we'll take 2 weeks off of that at the end of the year for the holidays too. But tomorrow, same bat time, same bat place. Okay, so Thursday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Thank you, everybody. Have an awesome, awesome holiday weekend if we don't talk to you before, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. You have a great holiday too. You and the girl.
Thanks.